Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe. Hi, I'm Rob from robnonphoto.com, and in today's HTC One MAX video, I thought it might be quite interesting to fire up Google Earth. This is the amazing app that Google have created that enables you to basically have the Earth in your pocket, and it's always a really good indication of the power of a smartphone, and how good your internet connection is as well, because there's an awful lot of rendering that has to be done, unlike on something like Google Maps, where it can just use vector graphics. I mean, here we are looking at satellite imagery, and we can in fact turn on things like 3D buildings and different things like that. So this is the gospel. Here we go. So here we go. A little bit of history. So this is Gosport, where I live. This is Portsmouth, the famous historic naval town. So let's. I mean, I don't know how much you know about Google Earth, but there's lots of sort of controls you can use. So obviously you can zoom in and you can zoom out. You can move your way around like so. You can sort of tip the map up like that, so now we can see the horizon, and now we can kind of move around, and we can also sort of spin around like so. So now we're kind of looking south out towards the Isle of Wight, which is there, and then I think if we tap that we can go back to north. Let's go back down here. Let's zoom in and have a look at Portsmouth, because there's some interesting stuff down here. Now, as you can see, everything is working very, very nicely. Our kind of zooms around very well. What we could do is, we've got some, I've actually turned on the 3D buildings as well. So as we get closer, if I tip the map back, there we go. Can you see the big skyscraper there? One of the few in Portsmouth. And then if we turn around with a bit of luck, we should see the Spinnaker Tower. There it is. So we can just lean back a little bit. I might have to zoom out a little bit. And there's Spinnaker Tower in Portsmouth Harbour. Isn't that fabulous? Now I think somebody's put the, there's the box of flats over in Gosport, and they've also put, let's get a bit closer in, somebody's been good enough to do a couple of the car ferries as well that go over to the Isle of Wight. Let's just spin it round again. There's HMS Warrior. Let's get a bit closer. Ooh. You see HMS Warrior? Again, if you want to have a look at this yourself on your own Google Earth, just search for Portsmouth Historic Dockyard and it'll take it. Now, as you can see, there's an awful lot of detail around here. There's HMS Victory. An awful lot of detail. And everything is pretty smooth. That is very, very impressive indeed. One of the things I really like as well about Google Earth is the topographical data. So let's do a search and let's go to the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, Arizona. Here we go. As we fly across the Atlantic Ocean over to Arizona. And then if we get rid of this keyboard, what we should be able to see is, if I probably back off a little bit actually, can you see how the Grand Canyon's dropping away? If I move it, you can probably see the parallax effect there. I mean, how amazing is this? Let's see if we can lean back a bit so you get, I'm not saying this is like going to the Grand Canyon and looking around, but hell, that's pretty damn good, isn't it? We can now fly through the Grand Canyon. Look at that. And the HTC One MAX is kind of dealing with this very, very well. I mean, I have to admit, we're on a pretty fast internet connection. But that is quite impressive for a phone, isn't it? And again, the fact that we have this massive, beautiful HD screen Just makes everything look absolutely beautiful. Now, where should we go next? How about, where do you reckon? New York? Why don't we go to, let's go to New York. New York. New York, New York. Come on, let's take us there, Google Earth. Let's see where we're going to go. Here we are. There's Manhattan Island. Now, I'd imagine it's going to struggle with this because there is an awful lot of 3D buildings on New York. But let's see. Let's see what we can do. Let's back off a little bit. Come in low. Let's tip back a bit so we can see the horizon. And let's move around so we're kind of looking. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is amazing. We've got a little bit of stuttering, but you know, my laptop stutters. Look at all these three-dimensional buildings, and where's let's get in close, shall we? Let's see how close we can get. Look at the real detail. And as we can see now, as it's catching up, we get more and more detail on the map. Let's take our little fella. I think, what do? Do we take him? Let's drop him down. Wow, and look, we could be standing there, kind of on the streets of New York City. In fact, that's probably a bit of a pants place to go. Let's go somewhere. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go on. Let's go to one of the. Let's get down here. Right. Let's go down to street level down here. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. So it's now filling it in with the street view. So we could be walking along New York City, looking around. This is some place I want to go to take photographs one day, and one day I will. That is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So there we go. Let's go back to Gosport, United Kingdom. So there we go, there's Google Earth running on the HTC One MAX. As you can see, its processor doesn't really have much trouble with the rendering, lots of stuff. We are running on a fast internet connection here, so that definitely helps. But hopefully that will have kind of showed you how powerful the HTC One MAX is, how great things look on the screen, and it really is very, very special indeed. My name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Thanks for watching.